Evening, everyone. Welcome to Stewards review for the race that we had at Oulton Park on Sunday. As usual, we'll kick off with the incidents that were reported, and then we'll go through the report that's generated by the sim and see what else comes about. So this first incident is between Fabien Michelon and Basti. Right, we'll run it through. Okay, bit of chaos. Watch that bit again. Well, definitely not intentional. And I think Bastis is caught out by this as Fabian. His throttle drops. Listen. Yeah. Let's have a look from above. That's it. Right, yeah. So I think if we were being super weird and getting our ruler out, we would say that Basti is the one moving left. If we look at the track edge and the distance between Basti's car and Fabian's car. So if we run this through slowly, we can see they settle and then Basti ever so slightly moves that way. Probably maybe 3 centimeters in real life. 5 centimeters, something like that, if that. But the thing is, this all happens in a split second on a fairly bumpy track that's perpetually curving right. Let's have a look at Fabian's car again as well. I wish you could make these cars disappear, but the track edge is there, and I feel like we're aiming towards that. Let's have a look. I feel like I think it's an awkward one. So I think in reality, what should have happened is that Fabian here probably should have given more room. We've got these two cars in front giving us a really good example. This is a tight track. Like if you chucked another car in there, three cars would just fit on the width of this track, so it's very narrow. And I mean, the way that this corner kicks right, just over here as well, the car on the inside that has got overlap and is afforded space. And to be fair, Fabian does give space, but it is just enough. And with the track turning right after this as well, I think if I was Fabian, I would have been leaving more room than that, because there's a good chance that Basti could wash out a little bit going over this cresting right. Yeah, I think both drivers could have done more. I don't think either driver was maliciously doing anything. They were just racing hard. And I think that this is just a racing incident. It's unfortunate that it has impacted quite a lot of people. Nothing. I don't think it's ended anybody's show. Yeah, everyone pretty much gets through unscathed. Um, Fabian's probably got some damage off the back of the contact with the barrier that spun him back onto the track. But everyone else just, what on earth? Everyone else just got on with it. I think Red has done himself in there. Yeah, he's got on the grass. Yeah, I think that's just a racing incident. I don't think Fabian realised how close it was. I think Basti didn't probably realise how much room he had on the right, which, I mean, to be fair to him, it's not a lot. He's already on the white line, and Fabian's still coming across. I think Basti's just moving away from that because he's anticipating the right-hander coming up. This edge is going to keep coming towards him if he carries on that trajectory. Yeah, I just think more space should have been afforded by Fabian there. To be fair, I also feel like Basti is moving a little bit, so it is definitely sort of a 50-50. It's all split-second stuff. If we look at it again from the onboard, from the driving view of Basti. So when I say he should have, he moved, he does, but it's so tiny and all happen in a split second, and it could just as easily have been a bump that's made his steering move ever so slightly that way. Because if we watch, he's just trying to stay on the right hand side of Fabian here. He's definitely not trying to go into him. Yeah, I think that's 50-50. It's either both get a penalty or neither get a penalty, and I'd rather give neither a penalty and call that a racing incident. Okay, so the next one in race one is me. So what I'll do is, like last time, I'll play it through from a few angles so that everybody's got the context when Rich reviews the incident and writes up the report. Uh, I'll let it play. While I find me. There I am. Oh, sorry, I should have done that with inputs. It's looking a bit worse for wear, my car there. Alright, that's enough of that. Right, we'll move on to the report now that's generated by the sim and see what we've got. So, first incident. Oh, lap to the grid. Next incident. Next incident. I think that's everyone in that post, to be fair. I'm sure there's not a reason. Okay, next incident. Alright, yeah, that's this one, don't worry, we'll skip that. And I think some of the people getting caught up by that previous incident, which we've already covered. So, yeah, a few of these are probably going to be the same thing as I just find my way through. Yeah, it's going to be the same. Okay, this looks like it's a proper one. Yeah. It's just a little bit of people getting checked up. That's where it is. Next. Yeah, it's no harm, no foul. Let's have another look though. Oh no, I can't. Anton's my teammate. So we'll just play it from a couple of different angles. So I think this is probably fairly straightforward. If there's anything there at all. Bit of rubber band in there. Okay, next incident. Oh no, I've seen that. Next incident. It's not an incident. Sims out. Oh, that's what it was. Contact with the cone. Okay, next one. Oh, it's painful, that one. So easy to run wide there. And you just keep running wide. Next incident. Is this one of these on-track cones again? It's probably going to be. Okay. Next incident. Oh, this is two cars. Let's watch that again. So you got Nick in front, going deep. Getting checked up behind David. Or David, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. So Christian's going for the gap. And Nick's just trying to get around the corner as well. I think it's not really an incident. That's just two drivers unsighted on each other, both going for the same bit of track. Yeah, there's nothing of concern really there. Although Nick Lowe does make contact with a post. So what's that? Nope, nearly. Kept it in. Right, yeah. Oh, so this says it's me. We'll run through it as before. That's it then, that's nothing. Just a bit of nudging. Next. Sign. Next. Me. Alright, okay, yeah, we've had this. Next. Next. I think this is probably just cutting T1 again. Yeah, that's very much off track. Me again. My car is broken, so I'm probably just trying to keep it on track. Yeah, it's not a happy car at this point. Okay, we've got car on car incident here. Williams and Zervez. Interesting. All right. Okay, so on first glance, we've got Matthew there getting on the grass and losing traction, and then going straight on through the corner and making contact with David. And like, your first instinct is to go, all right, okay, fair enough. So Matthew's made a mistake and made contact with David. I hadn't looked at what the impact to David was really yet, but I do just want to see if Matthews only ended up in that situation because Christian's moving or something like that. So I'm just going to pay a bit more attention to that for this time. No, I think he's just left his braking lane. Christian's brakes a little bit early, but that's not mega early. He's on the inside, so you would generally brake a little bit earlier on the inside, but then he's moving across at the same time. Is it a big move? So can Matt go left? Because you've got David fast approaching from behind. Yeah, I think you could stay left there. He's definitely moved right. Oh, right, okay. So I think Matthew there has anticipated Christian moving back to the racing line, because we see a conscious move to the right here from Matthew to come back behind Christian. Probably expecting Christian to sort of break in a straight line, because this corner does give you this sort of leeway, I guess, to drive straight across the track there so that you're on the outside for the entry into the hairpin. It's a little bit cheeky and a little bit naughty, um, particularly if you've got a car this close behind you. But I think Matthew's expecting it and has gone to try and brake late down the inside, because we see this conscious move right to come back behind Christian before the braking there. But Christian's braked fractionally early, and yeah, Matthew's braked quite late. No, it's not that late. You'd be braking at about there normally anyway. Would you? Would you? Hang on. Is that the first one? Second one? Oh yeah, I think you'd probably be braking about there normally. Yeah, that's fairly normal braking, but I think probably just more pressure on the brakes than he expected to be putting on, because Christian's not gone quite where he expected him to go. He's having to take a boarding action on the outside. I think Christian's definitely braked early there, because you've got David coming down the outside, who was behind both of them, and actually just completely done it and made the corner. Well, was going to make the corner. He's gone a little bit deep, but let's just watch it through again. Sorry, I know I'm labouring over this. I'm trying to decide whether this is Matthew hitting David because he's misjudged what was going on and got on the grass, or whether it's Christian braking early and moving to the left when he's committed to this inside line and then moved left, whilst braking. The more I watch it, the more I'm kind of leaning that way now. Do you know what I mean? He's committed to this inside line for the hairpin. He's defending the inside. Matthew's there. Because Matthews anticipated Christian moving left, I don't think is justification for Christian actually moving left. And then Christian doesn't quite fully move left either. He just sort of then moves into the path of where Matthew would be. And he's braked earlier as well. Which has caught everyone behind out. I mean, has he braked that much earlier? Because Matthews, I know he's locked up, so it's not really a good measure. But he's going for the inside and is braking where you would normally brake when you're on the racing line. So I think he's not a good measure. David's braked later and gone round them both, but he's gone a little bit deep. But he's got it stopped and turned in, and he could have been easily coming back for that late apex. Sorry, I'm going to watch it one more time. He's already on brakes there. Look, there's his brake. Now. I mean, yeah, you are on the inside. The problem is that he then starts moving left with it. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He doesn't, does he? So if you look at it from the onboard, we're looking at the edge of the track and thinking he's moving left, and he's not really. He's braking in a straight line. The track is moving. He's actually once he's gone over this crest, he's going to end up back broadly the same position as where he started braking. He's braking here. He's aiming directly at the apex. All he's doing is he's just cutting off this kink right here in the track. If you can see with my mouse pointer, but he's actually aiming straight at the start of the corner, the inside here, and there's plenty of space to the left. I think this is on Matthew. I think he's like from this perspective, it doesn't give us that nice zoomed out view enough to show where actually the car's pointing. Christian's not really moved. The track's moved, and Matthew's tried to get down this inside and be a bit clever, but he's not anticipated that Christian's braking earlier because he's on a tighter line. So yeah, I think this one's on Matthew. What's the damage? Let's have a look. So contact, position lost. Contact detrimental to David. He's got round them both there. I think if Matthew hadn't have locked up and gone off and either was level pegging with Christian or still stuck behind him, I think David would have held both of those positions, at least down until the next straight. Probably would have kept it to the end as well because he's going to have a better run down here on that wider line. Yeah, I think that'll be a penalty for Matthew. Sorry, I really laboured over that one, didn't I? I'll try and be more decisive on the next one. Contact with cone. Yes. Contact with cone. Next one. Next one. Okay, that's the end of the incidents for race 1. Okay, race 2. There's the results file. There it is. It's taking a little bit today. I'm not sure why. Oulton Park replay seems to be taking a little while to initialize. I wonder if it's just the mod. Right, let's have a look at the incident reports. So there's 4 reported from this one. Try and hit them in chronological order. Okay, so the first one will be Callum and Fabian. When it's loaded up. What time? 4:02. Gone too far. Okay, let's have a look. Fabian there on the left, so we've rounded, haven't we? We've rounded turn 1 here. Let's run it through. 4:02. Yeah, everyone gets checked up there, remember that. Oh. Okay. Let's look at this first. That's a little bit cheeky there from Fabian. It's a second incident, really, of him not giving too much room, and it came off badly for him on the first one. I think that's probably penalty worthy in itself. You know, only one of the very minor ones. But like Rich said, even in the opening briefing, they didn't want to see people getting pushed off track. And here we have exactly that. Callum's still entitled to the space there. And probably with being on the outside and having a better run out of the corner. I mean, I don't think that Callum would have like completed the pass there, but he would have been in a better position for this corner here. So what happens next? Let's have a look on board. It's probably easier from the top view. Alright, okay. Like I know in previous races when we've had something that's not like clear-cut contact, and I'm thinking like those times, the Hungaroring was a prime example, wasn't it, where we had the net code that kept affecting everybody. I know net code can sometimes be that cars don't actually make contact, but then they behave as though they've made contact. Because this is so close, the cars aren't doing weird things. I think just this is probably like the hitbox. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's just the hitbox, but so let's go on board with Fabian. See what he's seeing. Okay. think it just looks like Fabian there is just turning turning right into the back of Callum. I think thinking that he's not going to have space. That he's going to run into this grass maybe. Let's have a look at the inputs. Still steering right. Just runs into the side of Callum and turns him round. But the thing is, I think this is probably a very easy mistake to make for Fabian, thinking that they're just clear. Like, I bet if we go in the driving view, it probably looks like his bumper's clear. Do you know what? I think I bet as well, if he'd have not turned right quite so soon, like if it was a fraction later, I think Callum probably would have been clear by then. But that's not what happened. Like if it had just straightened up and gone a little bit closer towards that, I think it would have been all good. Or like a tiny lift just to sneak back in behind him, because that's not a position to fight from, going to the outside of the chicane with the worst run down the straight as well. Yeah, I think that's going to be another penalty for Fabian there. Just clumsy. I just want to check though. Give me 2 seconds. Because this is opening lap as well, so this would be a hefty penalty if it is. So I just want to be completely sure. Oh, Callum's angling this way. How much more of the... I think there's still plenty of time here for Callum to afford room for Fabian. Fabian's not anywhere near being run off the road yet, and already the spin is happening. Yeah, I think that's got to be on Fabian. Okay, what's next? Chronologically, it's Alan Axon, Alejandro Kappa. And it is 6 minutes 28. Sometimes the time's a little bit off. Oh, right, okay. So, a couple of things really with this one, isn't there? Let's run it through slowly. This was endemic as well through this race, especially with the fast guys. I understand that the sim has its own track limits and its own system of dealing with them, but gaining an advantage by going off track, whether the sim lets you or not, is also not allowed, and it's in the rules, isn't it? So Alejandro's gone heavy into this corner, clear off the track, and as a result is carrying more speed, whereas you've got Alan ahead who's getting checked up a little bit, slowed down slightly, compromised line with Callum ahead of him. Alejandro is on the power. There's not like a hint of a, oh, there's a car in front that I am going to make contact with. So I'll just lift. It's there wasn't any hint of a shit, there's a car there, I can't twat it into the back. Which has the effect of pushing Alan off. I understand Alan's slower there, but that doesn't mean that, well, you can just clear, drive into the back of him and just carry on, take the position and continue. And oh, he's losing another one as well. Let's look at it from Alan's point of view. He's not done anything wrong. He's got a compromised entry. Leaving space there for Callum. Got to go slower. Alejandro runs into the back of him, pushes him wide. Alan loses 2 positions. Yeah, I think that's going to be a penalty for Alejandro. What's next? 7:55. Fabian and Matthew Williams. Where are we? There we go. Oh, round 2. No, don't worry, it's not with me. 7:55. There we go. Okay, final corner. So what happens here? We've got Fabian going for the late move on Matthew. He's entitled to his room now. He's got alongside. It's going very tight. That's just going to make the corner more difficult. Matthew's leaving the space. Fabian's carried too much speed at too tight of an angle and run into Matthew. Which is not allowed. And then on the exit, Fabian's not yet cleared Matthew. Like, I know that the overtake is as good as done here, but it's not actually done. It's not cleared him. And Fabian's run into Matthew, which has put Matthew in the barrier as well. So that's a double incident there for Fabian there. So that'll be 2 penalties. You can put a late send on people, provided that you don't make contact. They give you the space. So yeah, that's basically in that order. If you're going to put a late send on someone, you've got to hope that they're going to give you space, because if they've started to turn in, like, and it's their natural turning point, and you've not got front wheel overlap with their rear wheel, then they don't have to leave you the space. In this situation, Matthew does. But the other part is that you can't then not be in control and you can't run into the car that you're trying to overtake, which is what happens here. And that's kind of cemented the pass then as well, because it's pushed Matthew further wide, slowed him down. He's been compromised because you've got a car behind who's catching a pair of them then. But yeah, so up to here, this is all right. For me, this is still all right. We're not properly turning in for this corner here. But I think the, the problem here is that Fabian goes tighter still on the corner entry, which just is going to result in you having a more challenging entry to the corner, especially carrying like normal speed, normal racing line speed into it, compounded by the fact that we're then cutting over the apex. Again, nothing wrong with it, but if it results in contact and you're trying to overtake someone, that's where the problem comes. But yeah, so we're going to be running onto this curb that's going to push the car wide as well, and into Matthew, pretty much just like, cementing the pass. The pass wasn't fully cemented. Fabian was moving across there into the path of Matthew. Matthew's got nowhere else to go here. You can't just disappear. And he's right on the line, and Fabian just turned into him. So yeah, 2 penalties there, I'm afraid, Fabian. Last one for the reported ones, and then we'll go to the ones that the Sims chucked up. Okay, 833, Alan Axon, Christian O'Mill. 833. Alan Axon. Christian Diaz O'Mill. Let's see. No. No, that's not a defense. I imagine Christian probably didn't realize that there were a car there, if we're being totally honest, because he's when you on board, Alan's going to look like he's quite far back in the mirrors. Let's have a look. Far enough. Let's have a look. See what happens. Yeah, deep. Probably didn't anticipate Alan to have quite the good run through that corner that he did. I don't think this is an intentional block. I think it's Christian trying to get back to the racing line. Probably a little bit panicky that he's got it wrong. Not really thinking about shit. That guy's going to be there quick. I don't think it's an intentional block. I think it's panicked return to racing line. Not thinking about the car behind. What it does do, though, is it prevents Alan from getting alongside, and it is a block. And it has the effect of putting Alan back. Let's run it through from Alan's perspective. So yeah, Christian's got deep there, made a mistake, and then just driven in the way. Oh, and it's allowed another car to get past. Yeah, I think that's going to be a penalty there for Christian. Like I say, I don't think there's any malice in it. I think it's just someone who's panicked. But the net effect is that it was a block on Alan, who'd read all this, seen what was happening in front of him, took that second apex more gingerly so that he'd be able to get a better run on the inside there. Yeah, read it, and then Christian's come across and just totally blocked him. And Alan's been and gone and lost a position as a result. Does he lose another? I think anything after this is just racing. So yeah, I think there's a penalty coming there as well. Okay. What's the server got for us? All right, okay. Let's get a better camera view where we can see what's going on. Contact with post. Yeah. Okay. More contact with post. I know that this is is fairly obvious. I just want to make sure that there's no reason besides just driving into it that there was contact with post. You know, people weren't squeezed off track or anything like that. That's why I'm checking it. No, this one's with me. It's at the start, so it's probably just jockeying for position, but I'll not talk about it. Oh, I won't talk about it. That was just where everyone was getting checked up. Next one. I mean, it's up to sorry, I'm just reading something else as well. Yeah, it's up to Rich if he wants to look any more deeply into that one. I think there's going to be a few that are check-up touches. Let's have a look. Oh, wait, hang on. This is a bit more than that. Let's watch it properly. All right, okay. So I haven't gone on board yet to have a look, see if Jordan's clear here, but it's obvious that he's seen Louis on the curb and getting a little bit squirrely, and there's a bit of a closing speed. So Jordan's like, right, okay, well, if you're going right, I'm going left. But wasn't clear to move left. Yeah, there's still overlap there. It's the slightest amount of overlap. I know that it doesn't look like it, but the way I'm imagining that the sim handles things is that whilst the car's body is there, it probably just draws a square around them at the extremities and doesn't take into consideration the slight curve on the car. So what I imagine the game devs do is that they put a square around it, and that it'll behave as though there was contact, even if there's ever so slightly a gap. Because if we just wind it back a smidge, that's where the contact happens. And you know, if you finished off those squares, they would be intersecting. So yeah, I think this is just a slight misjudgment on Jordan's part, whether that's because the sim, the crew chief was saying clear left or something, or the radar wasn't showing any overlap. But from my replay, at least, there is still overlap there with Vlad. Like that's not like a move clear to be made because you've got a car there and Vlad can't just disappear and can't anticipate a car moving across on him when and be backing off at the point where everybody else is on full throttle. So yeah, I think this is probably Jordan's mistake, and it's a bit of a shit one because it's also screwed his race up. But we'll see if it causes any more carnage. Oh, it does. Oh, it does. Okay. So it's ended his and Vlad's race. Daniel looks to be alright. Yeah, Daniel's alright. Vlad's out of it. What's happening to Jordan? Both out of it. Yeah, I think before making a final call on this, I'm gonna have to just rewind it and see where I land on this, because again, it's first lap. It's gonna have a bit of an impact. And I think Vlad's got there on the exit, and it's just real fine margins, but the simmers put it that was contact. That's where it happens. There, there's still overlap, and I mean the rules are fairly clear as well. Where if there's overlap with a car on the straights, then they have to be afforded space, and it's any amount of overlap. Yeah, so unfortunately, I think that's gonna land to Jordan. Unfortunately, and it had a good bit of impact on Vlad as well, ending his race. Right, moving on. Okay, 245. Oh, right, okay. Right, so at first glance, you'd be like, well, right, okay, Dan's been slowed down here and he's moving for a defensive position now to sort of block. Who's the other driver? Antonino. Like you could make that assumption, but when you look at the steering inputs and where those two colliding cars put Dan, I'm fairly confident that that's not the case, and it's not actually like an intentional block or anything like that. So you've got it all kicking off in front of him. Is making efforts to not run into them by braking and modulating his throttle and moving, which has the effect of putting his right wheels on the grass. A couple of times. So you look at his steering inputs and he's there trying to gather the car up, and it's still oscillating backwards and forwards a little bit, and he's finally got it gathered up, and now he's in the braking zone and is straight in the path of Antonino. I don't think that's a block or anything like that. I think that's just gathering it back up after that incident, and I think the contact was unavoidable. I don't think Antonino could have done anything about it either. They've both gone into the corner in the same order, and they've both come out in the same order. So I think that is probably just everything's fine, is what I think I'm trying to say. Sorry, I'm just having to scroll back past because there's a lot of contacts between Jordan and Vlad in that incident, and it's spamming them all, and then with the barriers and with wheels. All right, okay, this looks like the next actual one. Carlo Messina and Alejandro Capper. All right, okay. Bit of a late break by one or an early break by another. Probably early by Alejandro if Anton's managed to get alongside as well. Alejandro's probably reacting to what's going on in front, trying to avoid any carnage. I don't think there's anything in that. Teammates as well, I don't think they would intentionally do each other harm. I think it was just an accident. Okay, next is Matthew Williams and Nick Lowe. Nick's well ahead here, so this is going to have to be impressive. Whoa. All right. I think this is one that we're going to have to do it from the driver's perspective to get a better appreciation for what's happened. Let's go on board from Nick first. Fairly normal, bit of an accident going on in front. Understandable that you'd be slowing down a bit more for it. Everybody's getting checked up. I think Matthew's just not reading the conditions in front of him, because Nick's not exactly like a million miles away from those cars ahead. He's not braked late, he's not braked early, he's kind of just following where the cars in front are braking. These are braking now. And then Nick's just reacting to those in front braking. The gap's staying consistent between them, so he's slowing at the same rate as the cars ahead. And you've got an accident on the right, which is going to make you kind of nervous going into the corner. Everybody's getting checked up. Yeah, let's play it at full speed, see how natural it looks. Yellows, everyone's slowing. Yeah, I think that's just Matthew not reading the road. Coming back through. So we've got yellows. Flashing yellows. Dust, chaos. Late braking. Probably everything going off as what has caused Matthew to sort of miss his braking point in the first place. So let's see. Everyone's braking in front. There's cars crashing off and he's not reacted to it. And it's braking now. Well, that's like where you'd probably brake at normal racing speed halfway into the race when everyone's spread out and you've got the racing line to yourself, but not when you've got the entire pack backing up around the hairpin in front of you and a car accident happening off to the side. So, I mean, there'll be a penalty. It's not going to be mega. If there's a first lap multiplier to add to it, then there will be. That'll get done. But Nick pretty much just carries on. I don't think anything happens with the positions. I think this is just a mistake. Either a not paying attention mistake, probably. Yeah, got a bit of a crumple rear, maybe a little bit of aero damage or something, but position stayed the same. Okay, what's next? Callum. Oh right, yeah, this is that. We've covered that one already. And next one, Christian. Is that it? It's a contact with a movable object, which is usually like the barriers or something, but maybe if you hit a curb hard enough you get that. Yeah, there's nothing happening here. Oh no, sorry, it was contact with post, there must have been a post there. And this next one is Nicola, contact with a movable object. It's going to be the bollard in it. Yeah. Okay, driving mistake, but it looks like there was additional contact there as well. Let's have a butcher's. Have I got it paused? Who else got caught off with that? Yeah, so through Nick's got acquainted with the tyre barrier on the inside of the second apex there. Got Matt Williams following closely behind. And me. So Matt gets some. I get a little nudge. Sorry, so my silence is I'm trying to think how best to deal with this. Because Nick's paid the price of ruining his race and losing a wheel, but he has caused contact with Matt, and it's probably caused Matt damage. And whilst I can't see that, and I can't really consider it, we can just look at the contact part. And I'm trying to think. I think if you make a mistake and you make contact with another vehicle as a result of your mistake, it is just on you. So I think there's probably a penalty to be applied there to Nick for that. It's really annoying for Nick that his race was over, and then there'll be a penalty as well. But I think you can't go, oh well, it was only an accident, and I paid a price. You did, but that doesn't really. I can't say, oh well, like he's had a retirement, so I'm not gonna do anything about it, because that's not really parity with everybody else then. Yeah, so I think unfortunately there'll be a penalty for Nick there. It'll not be severe. Because it was contact. It wasn't intentional. It's cost Matt a small amount of time, but he's not lost positions. He's gained one through Nick's mistake. So yeah, what's next? So the next ones were all just us getting checked up behind Nick's accident. What's next? Jaroslav and Emmanuel. Oops. I think Jaroslav's got that a bit wrong there. Let's go on board. Make sure it's not like crazy early braking from Emmanuel. It's hard to tell sometimes from the top perspective, especially when there's not really anything on the track sides to give you a reference point. That's normal. Yeah, I think Jaroslav's just gone in a bit hot there. Made contact with the back of Emmanuel. I mean, to be fair, like it looks like Emmanuel's a little bit squirrely. His cars, this could also just be like my connection to the server, but it does look a little bit squirrely. However, he's not slowing too excessively. I don't think Jaroslav locks up either here. Oh wait, I mean that's quite late braking as well from Jaroslav. When the car in front's braking. Nah, it's probably fairly normal. Let's go on board with Emmanuel, see how much is braking, and if it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, well, I don't know why I'm wasting my time. I'll look at it and run it through, but at the end of the day, if a car is slower in front of you because they've got it a little bit wrong, it's unfortunate that you run into the back of them. But if you run into the back of them, it's not really on them. They're just driving a race. It's on us as drivers to not hit the back of people. And I mean, I can attest to being caught out in the first couple weeks of running into the back of people. Frustratingly, my teammates, because they'd had a compromised entry or a slow exit or something, but it doesn't really excuse you and from running into the back of them, because I've got to measure everyone by the same yardstick. He's not braking excessively there. Let's have a look. I don't think he's really. Your car's usually a bit loose going into here anyway, because we've got, a couple of changes of direction. You're wanting to get over to the left so that you've got a better entry into the first part of the corner. It's undulating. So I think the car moving around a little bit is fairly normal, particularly, like if his braking is more toward the rear. The gap to the cars in front doesn't change significantly. It's not like it's getting massive. Yeah, Jaroslav's just gone in too hot. I think that'll be a penalty for Jaroslav. We've lost a couple of positions here for Manuel. Yeah. Next one. Matthew Williams and Fabien Michelon. Board with Matthew. Okay. Let's rewind that. Can't make those kind of moves anyway. Ignore the bit with me. I can't talk about that. Sorry, I'm trying to separate. I'm trying to work. I'm trying to think how I can talk about this without talking about that little bit of contact with me there. I don't think. I don't think there's anything in that. I think is just. Sorry, might be easier if I look from Fabian's perspective. Oh, he's really far back. How has this come about? Yeah, I think he's just been caught out because he's been checked up behind me there with my alternative line. Yeah, I don't think that's nothing sinister about that. Next. Yeah. Two cars side by side. Oh wait, we've had this one already. Yeah. Okay, next one. Alejandro Kappa and Cohn. Jumped onto the track in it. Oh no. Matthew Williams and Sign. That's okay. Oh. Christian Cohn. Oh dear. Let's have a look. Oh wait, Anton, sorry, Anton's my teammate. Is Anton my teammate? Yeah, Anton's my teammate, so I can't talk about this, but we'll do the usual. We'll do a few perspectives, and then I'll let Rich deal with it. No way, we'll go overhead as well. I think that's probably a crucial bit, so I'm just going to get that slow. Wake up, mouse. And where are we? Oh yeah, there. Anton. Okay, what's next? Antonino Bavacqua and Callum Wilson. Ah, nice. Hesitated, let Callum get back on. Like to see it. David Zerwes with an immovable object. Yeah. Bruno Reno with a post. There it is. Jaroslav with a cone. Carlo Messina and Alan Axon. I can't remember if I've had this one already. It's one of the reported ones. I think it's probably just a touch into the airpin again. Blimey. That's a whack. I think that's probably going to be a penalty. From this far back, locking up like that, you're not going to get alongside the car before they turn in. If you can't get the car slowed down in time, you shouldn't really be aiming for the apex, because that's just going to result in contact. You know, like happened with, I think it was Alan actually in the Porsche, wasn't it? At Monza last week, at the second chicane, where he cut the apex because he'd locked up in the rain. So he had no choice but to turn for the apex that time because he had cars on the right blocking his escape route. But at this track here, you've got a really big escape route directly in front of you. When you've locked it up, you can't just send it down the inside and up because it's going to result in contact. You go left. And take the consequences rather than going right and hitting a car and using them to slow you down. Definitely too late on the brakes. This was never going to make the apex. If Alan hadn't have been there, Carlo would have been going a considerable way more deeper than that. But then tries to get that position as well. Yeah, it's not going to be a mega penalty, but there'll be a penalty for that. Next, Louis Neal with a cone. I hope it's one on track and not one straight in front. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, Fabian Michelon with a sign. Okay, that's not anyone forcing that. Callum Wilson with a post. We're forcing off there. Louis Neal with a sign. Oh, right, yeah. This is why we look at these. Usually it's just nothing. Someone running a little bit wide, clipping something, but this is we'll have to have a look at this one. Probably easier from on board and above to get a feel for how. Sorry, it's a bit of a close fight, that, isn't it? Anyway, let's run it through full speed. Ah, no way. Such a shame because these were the front runners as well. I haven't dissected this yet, but like if there's any penalties as well, it's just such a shame because every point matters at the top, doesn't it? They're stuck together really there. There's not a lot you can do about that once you're stuck together. Because the problem is you're still both trying to make the corner. And what it has effect of doing is that it just sort of cancels, each other's steering input gets cancelled out and both get carried off. So, Sava Butchers. Okay, so Louise doesn't have to give really anyone any space here. No one's alongside. And, going through corners, we often think about like leaving space for other cars when we're thinking about someone going up the inside. Like you're entitled to space once you've got up the inside of the car ahead before the turning point. Um, when you've got wheel to wheel overlap. But it works on the other side as well. So if someone entitled to space, is it your corner? Do you have to sort of like manage it, I guess, and give them room if they've gone down the outside? I guess this is going to be a sort of a prime example of that, where whether our rules capture it and consider it, because we're good into the corner here now, and it's still, if this was a nose poke up the inside, I don't think that would have been soon enough to be afforded space. I think Louis is now, like, he could quite easily be just opening his steering because we're coming onto the straight with the anticipation of, you know, leaving a car's width. Probably would have done. He's not going to completely box Daniel Earlock off there. I think he would have left space. Um, but we never really get to see that because the cars get stuck together mid-corner and the momentum just carries them both off. I don't think anyone's at fault here. It's just the physics and the way that the cars glue together, and two cars racing hard. No one's turning into anyone here. No one's doing anything daft. I think it's just the physics and the momentum. It's come off bad for Louis, which is a bit of a shitter because he was doing so well in that race. It's a brave rejoin. I'm only playing that. I'm not. It doesn't cause any harm. There wasn't another car after me. I remember this happening, and I was thinking, blimey, they weren't hanging about getting back on. But I am going to assume that he knew that there was no other cars behind me, and that he knew I was there and perfectly timed that rejoin. We'll go with that. Okay, Anton Temenga, Christian Diaz-Omil. I can't talk about this if there's something comes of it, or if I've not already talked about it. If we've not already looked at it, I think we might have done. Oh no, this is must be after the race. This. Okay, well I can't comment on that. That'll have to be Rich again. That's everything then. Cheers everybody for listening. If you managed to make it this far, it was quite a long one. I know I had to labour over a couple of them as well because just a bit tricky deciding which way things needed to go. I'll have fun writing this up in a bit. But yeah, that does it for tonight. Catch you all later. If you've got any problems with any of the decisions, raise it in the Discord, and one of the other stewards will review it and let you know what the outcome is. All right, thank you. Bye bye.